lasts 5 years. 1/3 lasts at least 10 years, and 1/4, 15 years. Okay, so we're down to just 1/4. So if you have a business and you've been around for 2 years or more, you need to give yourself a round of applause because you are in the top 70%. Okay, but now we believe this lie that we have to pay the price. What do you think the price of success is? Anyone? Blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, well, I will tell you that if you are an entrepreneur, and even if you just have an entrepreneurial mindset, all of this information is for you, okay? The payment is said to be the currency of our relationships with family, with friends, and even ourselves. Now, my mother, she was an entrepreneur at heart, okay? She loved to help people do what they love to do and find their purpose in the arts. She would be a promoter for fundraisers, and she would showcase local talent. And I remember there was this one boy, he was 16 years old, and this boy, he could play the saxophone like nobody's business. I don't remember his name, but I remember how his gift made the audience feel. Now my mother, she never made a whole lot of money doing what she did, but she was deemed a success because of the people that she supported and helped. 2001, my mama, that's her, and she's beautiful, she's so beautiful. 2001, she was hospitalized with what we thought was pneumonia. Turns out it was heart failure. She had her colon, a portion of it removed and put in a colostomy bag. Anybody know what a colostomy bag is? Okay. For those of you who don't know, it's when they cut into your colon, they remove a portion of your colon, and then they attach it to a bag on the outside of your body. It's not very pretty. In 2002, she had not one but 2 heart surgeries. And 19 days after the second one, she was dead at the age of 53. If we work more, we profit more, right? In theory. Because really, what are we sacrificing? Are we sacrificing our time? Are we sacrificing our health? My mother worked 9 to 5 every day. And then she would come home, make sure I was good, and then she would work another 4 to 5 hours, living her dream. The sad part about this is, as business owners, we war with 3 things. Does anybody know what those 3 things are that we war with?
That we war with?
That we war with. It's a
Fear of failure.
W-A-R, is that what you're saying?
Money.
Time.
Time is money.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure.
Fear of success.
It's food, rest and recovery, your time, and then the people that we have around us, our counsel. Okay. Now we may feel like we're on this high, you know, when we are meeting deadlines and we're getting tasks done. That high, that's not self-sustaining. We can't keep that up for very long. Now, I don't give this talk because I'm a health coach. I don't give this talk because y'all need more knowledge. I mean, for crying out loud, we have knowledge. We are overflowing with knowledge, right? I give this talk because it's personal. Do you know 22 million companies are run by solopreneurs? Did anybody know that? Okay. And as a solopreneur, chances are you don't have people to fall back on, right? It's all on you. I struggled with depression. I worked from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. I exercised minimally. I had friends and some acquaintances. And I ate whatever I could grab. Because let's face it, as an entrepreneur working that much, who's got time to go to the grocery store? Right? Who's got time to make a home-cooked meal? Not this girl. But if we don't make time for our wellness, we're going to be forced to make time for our illness. Anybody give an amen on that one?
Amen.
Okay. Now, I am standing before you today for 3 reasons. Number 1, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's number 1. But for 2 other reasons. And the first one is my friend Veronica. Now, Veronica, she was amazing. She would give amazing counsel. But she never judged me. You know, when we're dealing with any illness from here up, there's a stigma, right? We can have illness from here down all day long and nobody has a problem with it. And especially as Black women, we are told that we are supposed to bear the weight of the world on our shoulders, right? All while we're running a marathon. That's not feasible. As Veronica shared these things with me, I realized it was okay not to be okay. In fact, you know, when your friend says, you know, girl, how's your business going, right? And we're like, you just want to say, I'm drowning. I don't know what to do and I need help. But here's what we do. Girl, it's good. Thank you for asking. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, I'll catch you later. It's okay for us to take this mask off and admit that we cannot shoulder the burden all by ourselves. My God says that His yoke is easy and His burden is light, and we were never meant to shoulder the burden all by ourselves. Now, as I go to this doctor, my doctor shares with me that my liver and my spleen are overworked. And I'm thinking, like, my liver and my spleen are overworked. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I'm coming to you from my head, and you're talking about my liver and my spleen. But I'm going to get back to what she said about that. The next person that helped me was my daughter. She was 3 at the time. You see, at this point, I stopped eating. I stopped caring. This little girl, she could make the best PBJ sandwich, okay? Better than any that you have ever tasted in your life. And this particular time, she made me the sloppiest, the most beautiful specialty PBJ sandwich ever. And she said, Mommy, you need to eat. Mommy, you need to eat because I need you. That was when I knew and I needed to seek help. So when I go to this doctor, and before I tell you that, I want you to know that people around you know this, okay? They may not say anything, and I'll tell you, if you're one of those people that don't say anything, silence is deadly. It's deafening and it's deafening. But we don't speak because we don't know what to say, right? We don't know how to react, and so therefore we just say nothing. Saying something is always better than saying nothing. Okay? All right, so the doctor says to me, you have issues with your liver, you have issues with your spleen, and your kidneys are coming up as a close second. And I'm thinking, I don't have pain in my liver, I don't have pain in my kidneys, you know, I'm coming to you from my head. And she says, you realize that your organs house your emotions. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But then she said, well, think about it this way. When you break up with someone or you lose a relationship, where do you hurt?
Your stomach.
When someone says, okay, you got to do a presentation next day, where do you feel it? Here. Your organs house your emotions. 350 million people are affected by depression annually. 350 million. And that's only the people that report it. That's scary. 72% of entrepreneurs experience mental health concerns. 72%. And 49% experience chronic mental illness. So you just divide it right down the middle and think half are dealing with chronic mental illness. Scary, isn't it? Well, when we're talking about the liver houses anger. Okay, now you can see where the liver is, right? It's right there. And it houses anger. Anger can turn excessive. It becomes frustration, moodiness, bitterness. And the symptoms are things that you probably would never think about. My symptoms were headaches, menstrual distress, blurred vision. But other symptoms are red face, bitter taste in your mouth, floaters. You know those little floaters that you see sometimes? And the doctor tells you that's normal? Dry skin, dry hair, and I'm going to tell you this one. Itchy or swelling genitals. Now, people don't talk about this because, like, I'm not talking about this. The reason we don't talk about it is because we care too much about what other people think. I tell you, I don't care what people think anymore. I don't. But I do care how people feel. That is important. So next we're going to go to the spleen. The spleen houses your worry. Okay, spleen is right here, houses your worry. Anxiety. Can anybody give me the definition? Don't look up there. The definition of anxiety. You just say don't look up there? What's the definition of anxiety?
Work. Unhealthy occupation.
Okay. And actually, that's incorrect because I knew y'all would read it up there. It's an unhealthy preoccupation toward the future. Depression is an unhealthy preoccupation of the past. Either way, it robs you of the present. Okay? Now, if you're dealing with issues with your spleen, abdominal distension, okay, so if you're noticing that your abdomen is distended, loss of appetite, poor digestion, diarrhea, loose stools, but yet we go to the doctor, we get a what? To take care of it all. A pill. When in actuality, do y'all know what the liver actually does for the body?
The detox.
It detoxifies the body. Does anyone know what the spleen does? Yes, and oftentimes they'll tell you, oh, you don't need your spleen, you can just get it removed, right? But what the spleen does, it takes the bacteria and the viruses that are coming into your body and flushes them out. So if you're having this removed, what does that do for you? It opens you up to what? Infections. And now we're wondering why everybody's sick. Okay, next one. Kidneys. I don't have the statistics on this, but I honestly believe that more than half of the population deals with kidney issues. In the time frame that we live in a time of fear, right? Now, I live in Louisville, but I used to live in Baltimore. I lived in Baltimore many moons ago, before they had all these cameras. I'm driving and I'm thinking, my God, I feel like I'm watched wherever I go. That can be fearful, especially for somebody who's not used to that. And so the kidneys handle fear. Now, some of the symptoms that you would imagine would be, of course, pain in your back, so that's where they're located. Memory loss, low libido, vertigo, dry mouth, night sweats, urinary incontinence, ringing in your ears. I had a client come to me because they had ringing in their ears. And I said, what do your labs look like? Kidneys were just off the charts. So it's very important that we check these things because our symptoms are not isolated, okay? We are one. So where there's mental health and physical health, you're dealing with it. So, it was then that I realized that the body deals with health in a whole different way than what we've been taught, right? And instead of looking at food, rest and recovery, and counsel as things that we war with, we can look at them as tools because food equals our physical health, right? Junk in, junk out. My husband is one of 6 children. All of his siblings have diabetes. 3 of his brothers died from diabetes. He is the only one that does not have diabetes. Do you think that's just a coincidence? Rest and recovery, that's your time, okay? What do you do for rest and recovery? Anyone? You don't always have to sleep.
I eat popcorn and watch movies.
Good.
Listen to jazz.
You said what?
I listen to jazz.
You listen to jazz. Love it. Yes, ma'am.
Walk in nature.
Walk in nature. That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So God, He's so specific about rest and recovery. He is so specific about that. And we don't take Him at His word. He even rested. Now, if God rested, what makes us think we need to work 7 days a week? Right? Okay. Counsel. The people you have around you. You are the sum total of the 5 people that you are closest to. I want y'all to get a mental picture of the people you have close to you. Now, if your friends are unhealthy, negative, and broke, you might want to find some new friends. Right?
Check your check.
That's right. Check your check. All right. So, food. 44% of Americans eat fast food every single day. Every day. Okay? Now, that's just what they eat every day. There are people who eat more than just once a day fast food. In fact, I had a client 3 days a week. 3 times a day, 7 days a week, she ate fast food. Of course, she had what I call, the inherited diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, name them all. But I can't even complain because I did the same thing. I would eat fast food all the time because let's face it, it's convenient, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if it's convenient, why wouldn't we want to eat it? Why wouldn't we want to eat it? Oh, that's not a rhetorical question. Why wouldn't we want to eat it? It's fast, it's easy, right? Okay, so the body has an actual cycle. Okay, I'm going to go through this because, I forgot to tell you, 1 in 3 people do not get enough rest. But the body has an energy cycle. Okay, so the same way we have like a sleep cycle, each organ has an energy cycle. So I was waking up between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning all the time and couldn't understand why. I would be dog tired going to bed, but I would still wake up 1 to 3. Can anybody tell me, looking at this clock, I know it's a little hard to read, but looking at this clock, why I would wake up between 1 and 3 a.m.? Yep.
To go to the bathroom. That's what I was going to
That's
say.
And the funny thing is, I never went to the bathroom. I was just up. I'd rather go to the bathroom, but I was just up. So the liver recycles itself between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning. It woke me up. Do you know why it woke me up? Overworked. It was overworked. It could no longer handle all of the toxins that I was putting in my body. And so it said, oh, I'm up. You gonna be up. Now, my spleen, your spleen too, between 9 and 11 a.m. is when it regenerates itself. Now, the spleen controls your focus. So if you have anything that you have pressing that you need to get done, schedule it between 9 and 11 because that's when you're going to be most focused. It's true, right? I don't lie.
In the daytime?
Oh, yes, because I'm not going to be, yes. I'm asleep. But yes, between 9 and 11 a.m. Yes.
Is that why I'm missing my focus?
And also, if your spleen is overworked, you will be the most foggy at that time too. Okay? And then the kidneys work between 5 and 7 p.m. You ever wonder why you gotta go to the bathroom as soon as you come home from work? My husband
sit in traffic for 2 hours.
Yep. Yes, my husband faithfully, I go to the bathroom. It's because the kidney works between 5 and 7 p.m. Okay? But the kidney, if you're fatigued during that hour of the day or those 2 hours of the day, then guess what? Your kidney is overworked. Okay? Because you should not be fatigued.
What's a triple warmer?
Which one?
Triple warmer.
Triple warmer. Where you see that?
9, 11.
That's your thyroid.
Oh,
Yeah, that's your thyroid, and that's a whole nother class right there. That's your thyroid. Okay, so let's get to counsel. Counsel, now that's my daughter. That's her now. She's 20. But counsel, the people that you have around you are so important. Now, if it hadn't been for my daughter, and my friend telling me to go see a holistic doctor, I wouldn't be here. I honestly would not be here. It is very important that the people that are around you are there to encourage you. Okay? So, since you are the sum total of the people who are around you, you have to ask yourself some things. The first thing is, these people that are around me, are they helping my business or are they hindering my business? If they're there to help my business, then I must define some things for myself. What is my definition of success? What am I willing to give up to achieve it? Am I willing to give up my physical health? Perhaps shaving off a few years, that's cool, right? Am I willing to give up my self-care time and moments that actually matter? Or am I willing to give up or sacrifice key relationships? Or is it that we don't really have to give up? It could very well be that there could be a healthy balance, and that eating better and taking time to rest and be restored and surrounding yourself with positive people, that could be more profitable than anything that you could imagine. So I want to share with you, I've done some sugar detoxes and a liver detox, which honestly, when my husband and I did the sugar detox together, the second day we were on this detox, my husband has inflammation out everywhere. And he had no inflammation on his knees. He's had shoulder surgery, back surgery, no more inflammation. Day 4, our mental clarity came back, and that's just 4 days off of sugar, okay? The liver detox, that's an all-inclusive one, and I have deals on both of them, okay? So you can see me in the back for that, and it's a program that can literally be run on its own. And then I also have my coaching session, so if you don't really know what you want, I have free coaching sessions, consultation to let you know what it is that you need. All right, thank you very much.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Thank you. I was writing notes. I need that human generation clock.
Yeah.
I need to know what's keeping me up.
Yeah, I need that.
And why I'm gonna have to change my office hours because I'm missing my focus time. Kind of sleeping past 9. So I get the opportunity, as she's fixing, getting ready for our Nate's speaker. I met Natalie last year, actually in Baltimore. No, actually before Baltimore. Louisville. Met Natalie on the run tour last year in Louisville. And then I was doing my own conferences last year and actually had her as a speaker on my conference that I did in Baltimore last year. And so you are getting ready to have a real treat because, and it's just so wonderful. I love the way everything flows together. Like I said, we're in similar territory, but everybody has a different focus. And Natalie is an honorary sister from Germany, but she is getting ready to let you know about your patterns of behavior and how they manifest in your life. So I introduce you, Natalie Forrest.
And I think you've already seen me. So what I'm going to do is, because it's getting late, I'm going to try and cut what I've prepared a little bit. And it is about the hidden power of patterns. However, it's directly connected to detox because we're like talking about D's right now. Yeah, we passed the C's. We got A, that was Dr. Cass. We got the B's, business. We got the C's. Now we're at the D's. So we're talking about detoxing. I love what Sakina just did, because in so many ways what you're talking about is really Ayurveda as well,
Yes.
right? And so, you know, my background is I'm a historian by trade. So that's why I'm like analysis, I'm like research, I got this, okay? But when you do a history, you also learn about people. So you need to understand psychology. So of course you do that as well, okay? And then I came out the womb and I was going to be a teacher. So that was like this no discussion. So I was also a college teacher, which is how I learned that you need to have A, B, C, D, and E all the way down to Z, just in case something doesn't work out while you're standing there. And you never know what people shoot at you, literally speaking from Baltimore, from anywhere that you walk by. Okay? So one of the things that I've learned is what I call the hidden power of patterns. And that's a mix of history, spirituality, psychology, humanity, and culture. Because we're all from different cultures. Regardless of where you're from, you're always from don't throw that out. Always from different cultures. And so I want to talk about detoxing the mind. Alright? So you had check your chickens, you had sakana, you had to drill with the seeds. So when I talk about detoxing the mind, I really want us to run towards that. Because usually we run away from detoxing the mind. But if we don't run towards detoxing the mind, we're going to have a problem. Okay? And so, again, you mentioned this as well. Body, mind, and soul. So I'm going to skip over some of that. I'm going to skip some of this. What you need to understand, somebody said, the world is made out of systems. Well, if you want to be successful, you actually need a system in place, which is why Dr. Cass always says, okay, how many streams of income do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So you need a system to detox your mind. And you need to stick with it. And once you've done it 1 time or 2 times, you need to switch it up a little bit. Have you ever been to a conference and somebody says, this tea is going to really detox you, I guarantee it. I love those people because I always get my money back. Every single time. I'm like, really? So you tell me if I drink this tea for 1 month, I'm going to lose 10 points. Okay, yeah, okay. All right, and if I don't, give me your card. I don't lose it. Because I regularly detox anyhow. Okay? And how many of you have tried all of the body detoxes in the world? I mean, from the pills, they're like, about 40 different pills that you take now? I love the fact that they're pills. Because the pills are like in chemical stuff. Really good. Or, the master cleanse, which if you really drink it 4 days in a row, everything hurts. Because it's cayenne pepper, lemon, and other stuff. It's like, really good. The maple syrup makes it work. Okay? But you need to take a step towards understanding that your body and your mind and your soul are connected. And we talk about wholeness. Everybody talks about wholeness. But I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Because if everybody talks about wholeness, then why is everybody sick? So I was sick for the last 3 weeks. I'm actually, my voice is back. Yes. I know that when I lose my voice, why I'm losing my voice. It ain't because of the weather. It ain't because I'm cold. It's because I'm tired of saying the same darn thing over and over again. It's very simple. Now, am I going to do something about it? Well, it depends on who I'm with. Okay? So we need to take a step towards freedom from everybody else telling us what to do and how to do it. There are 20,000 self-help books, if not more. They're written by one person for people like that person. However, I've got books too. And I hope you read them. But I don't expect you to be able to do exactly what I did, because you're different. But maybe there are some good tips. So you always got to start with, who are you? And awareness is not a giver of solace. It's just the opposite. Because once you really know who you are, you're going to have to deal with yourself. Now that's the fun part. But it actually is fun. Because when you do that, you begin to understand, and this is what some people already said, you begin to understand that whatever somebody else does is their stuff. It's not your stuff, it's their stuff. So when somebody starts yelling at me, or, again, Baltimore, you drive, you know what happens when you don't drive fast enough. So, you just look over and they're like, okay. You don't respond, because it's their stuff. Do I take it personally? No. Did I used to take it personally? Yes. No more, because I'm like, okay, you got some issues. Please, slow down. There are 5 more red lights. If you run all of them, somebody's going to die. Ain't good. So, I start praying for them. And, my husband laughs. well, we don't want to talk about purpose right now, but your purpose is to know yourself, period. If you were working with me, we'd go through a long process. And bless
That's
you.
it.
See, and she's already allergic to me. So you've seen the wheel of life, the really simple thing of where you are. You know, which of these areas works, where are you, where you're not. Well, that's all good, and it works to some degree, but it is completely subjective. Because you're saying, where do you think you are? Who's going to give you feedback on that other than it's a kind of a thing? Well, you know, that's got hurt. Okay. So this is great, but it's subjective. So me telling me, oh, I'm doing great here is still not honest as I may be. So we need to go, and this is where I veer off a little bit of the PowerPoint. We need to think about the words we use and what they mean. There are connotations and denotations. Okay? So, success. What exactly does that mean? I don't want you to answer that right now. I want you to think about it. Okay? Because success means something different to each of us in this room. For one of us, you mentioned a couple of numbers, right? I'm gonna not directly argue, but I've got issues with some of the numbers we mentioned. For you know, businesses, right? So great, you've been in business for 5 years. Congratulations. Yeah, okay. Do you have a sustainable business, or are you just in business for 5 years? Because almost 90% of businesses that start are not sustainable for a long time. Okay, that's where actually we know that there's a difference between success and sustainability, because success is again subjective. Okay, so we got to think about those words. Some of the other words I heard. That's on one of my peak projects. Okay, I don't believe in problems. Because the minute you say the word problem, what happens? It's like, it's a problem, it's a problem, it's a problem. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We get that mental block. So I believe in challenges. Maybe that comes because I like horseback riding. You know, you jump over the hurdles. It's a challenge. Okay, an obstacle challenge. That's what it is to me. It's a challenge. Because if I hear challenge, then I know I want to fix it. I'm going to find some solutions to the challenge. Okay? And then, of course, the very well-known word failure. Okay? These are, by the way, all words that are not allowed in my house. Okay? So problems are not allowed in my house. Failure is also not allowed in my house. The only thing that is allowed is, what did you learn from that experience? Because you only fail if you keep doing the same darn thing over and over again. Okay? And all of this really comes down to the one area where I have issues with everybody. By the way, I'm a revolutionary. With everybody, you use the word mindset. I don't want a mindset. Because a mindset is a set mind. That means you can never change it. It's set. I want a mind flex. Very simple. So if we're talking about changing your mindset, that's not possible. You have a mindset, it's set. You got to first take a step toward being flexible. And that's a process. And I know Naomi can help you in that process and others. But you got to get there. And the first thing that you get there is by watching the words that you use. Your subconscious mind, the patterns. Okay? So if you're thinking about that, then of course you've seen this picture probably on social media as well, you know, same old thinking. So I want you to stand up for a second. Stand up, everybody, stand up. Okay? Okay. All right. Now if you want to, you can take your shoes off. I will. Yeah, I will. Okay? I want you to do the tree posture. Everybody know the tree posture? Yoga? You do this, you go all the way up. I can't go too high up. And you do this. I want you to do it. Seriously, do it. Seriously, do it. One leg up. You gotta put one leg up. You gotta put one leg up. Okay? Now some of you are wobbling, right? Okay, what are you doing when you wobble? Think about a tree. I want you to think about a tree. What does a tree do when it wobbles and there's a tree close to it? It leans or it branches out, right? Do that if you're wobbling. I'll do the other leg. Okay? The other leg. This all means something. Left side, right side, it all means something. Okay? Alright, again, if you're wiggling, branch out. You're not alone there. You are in a forest. These are all entrepreneurs working with you, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on to them. That's what trees do. Okay? Alright, you may sit down. But what you just did is a very simple thing that I recommend for you to do every single morning. Okay? And every single morning, in addition to your prayers and all the other routines that you do, the reason why I recommend that is because it will help align your body, mind, and soul. Left hand is usually connected to your left arm. Yeah. Brain. The father side, the male side. Right side is usually connected to the female side. And I don't mean that necessarily in mom and dad, but feminine, arts and analysis. Okay? So one morning you wake up and you go, ah. Next morning you're like, oh, I got this. And then you stand like, ah. That's because when we wake up, every morning is different. And that's okay. All you need to do is you need to be alert of what has happened. Okay? So what I'm asking you to do is I'm going to ask you to identify your superpowers by changing the words you use. Very simple. Change the word you use so that you can set your day up differently. First action step, in addition to prayers, routine, and everything else. The minute that alarm clock rings, I hope it rings. Okay? When that alarm clock goes off, whatever you use, first thing, keep your eyes shut. And say something welcoming to the day and yourself. Gratitude in the morning. Oh, it's going to be a perfect day. I know it's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for being here. It's so great to be here. Okay, and I know everything hurts because you laid on your shoulder and it really hurts, so I don't care. Okay? It's going to be a great day. You're lucky to be alive because you just took a breath. That means you're alive. That means you can service someone. You can be of service. That's the best thing you can do. Okay? And then you crawl out of bed. Whatever you see the weather being outside, I don't care. Rain is great. Rain is fantastic. Without rain, nothing grows. Sun is great. Don't turn on the AC, that messes everything. Okay? Sweat a little bit because sweat gets the stuff out of your system. Good. Okay? Have a tea, coffee, whatever you want. Take in the morning 10 to 15 minutes for yourself and throw every pattern out because a pattern is a routine. Too many people look outside the window and go, oh, it's raining. Their whole body goes down. No, dance in the rain. My neighbors think I'm crazy. Okay? After those 10 to 15 minutes, you go and do what you do. Okay? Now at night, I'm trying to put everything together that was said. At night, you journal before you go to bed. Don't do it in bed, do it before bed. Forgiveness. Who was that with forgiveness? Crystal, right? Forgiveness. Always start your journaling out nicely. Ah, dear God, it was such a great day. Thank you so much. And by the way, now you're checking somebody else's chicken. Okay? This is really stupid. Blah, 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 blah. That's okay. And then as you write, and initially when you start this process of journaling, you write like 20, 30 pages, right? So now, at the end, you've blamed everybody for everything, right? You feel really good. Yeah, what about you? Because you're part of this unless you're an observer watching the game. You're part of this. So what's your role in all of that? What did you do when somebody pushed your button? Did you respond to the person who was cutting you off while you were driving? Okay, maybe that got your liver going. Okay? So you got to take that into account, and then you go to the forgiveness, because you've forgiven everybody else. That driver that ran the red light, your husband who screamed at you, your daughter who didn't do the dishes. You got everybody covered, but not yourself. Put it on paper. Then you go to bed, and guess what? You sleep. I'm living proof. You'll actually sleep. because I never used to be able to sleep, but you actually sleep. And you have great dreams. Then you wake up the next morning, and what do?
Keep your eyes shut and say something good about yourself.
Exactly. And then you do the tree posture or some kind of yoga or whatever. So what I would like you to do is, yes, I have an offer. I'm not even going to mention it, but it's a detox course. But anyhow, I want you to try this out. I mean this very seriously. Okay, I'm also German. I mean this seriously. 10 to 15 minutes in the morning. Whatever comes up, either reach out to somebody in your support network or reach out to me. Send me an email. It didn't work for me, and I will tell you why at that point. Or, hey, it's great, it's working, but now what? I will respond. I always want everybody to actually follow up. So next week, today is the 6th. So, the 13th, okay, well, the 13th I'll be volunteering all day. So by the 13th, send me an email and tell me, it's working, it's not working, help me, forget about it. I don't care what it is that you're writing me, but I want to hear from you whether you're actually doing this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, good. So all you need to do is really change the words you're using, and that will help you begin to flex your mind, because your mind is a muscle. Just like when you sit too much, nothing flexes anymore. Does that make sense? All right. I don't know how much time I used, but I'm trying to cut it all down. Does it make sense? Good. Then thank you very much. Next one's up.
All right, so we're gonna make these real fast. So I got Robert coming up next, and then we're gonna do Shaquille.